What's going on, my Central Unit Galaxy? It's the Central Man here. So this is episode 6 of the MCU movie review series. So today I'm reviewing the final movie of Phase 1, that is Avengers from 2012. This movie was a blockbuster, action-packed movie. Out of the first 4 Avengers movies, between, this movie until Endgames, I place it in the middle of quality of Avengers movies, because number one, I rank Infinity War for me as the best Avengers movie out of the series, and then number two, I place Endgames, and then I place this movie in takes the bronze medal for number three, and then the fourth movie, I say Age of Ultron. That was a weak movie. I'll get to Age of Ultron later on in this series, when I get to Phase 2. I think it's the fourth movie of Phase 2, I might be wrong. Anyway, so yeah, you never thought that we're gonna see this type of film, this film's gonna happen, because it was success. You imagine if this movie was bombed, didn't do well in the box office. I don't think we're gonna see a Justice League movie a couple years later. That was basically their group's movie, part of the DC extended universe. If Avengers did not lift up the hype, like I saw like this movie, I saw like Justice League from 2017, the 2017 Justice League film. It was good. I'm not saying it was a terrible movie. It wasn't like fantastic, but it was an enjoyable movie. It's directed by the same director, Joss Whedon. He directed this movie and Justice League. I think it was after Zack Snyder quit or got fired, because because reports this year they're gonna release the Snyder cut of Justice League. Zack Snyder's version of the film. It had some potential. I've seen the trailer of it. It could be good. Who knows? So let's get back to Avengers. So, yeah, you thought we're never going to see this film going to happen, because, you can tell, like, Hollywood's not focused on doing, like, a group of superheroes movie. Yeah, they had X-Men, but, like, a group of superheroes, with, this movie with, Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, Captain America. You thought that it's not going to happen. They were more focused on solo films. So far in the 5 movies of Phase 1, you had 2 Iron Man movies. You had Thor 1, Captain America 1, Incredible Hulk actually 1. They hadn't done a sequel ever since. Hulk was paired in Ragnarok in 2017, and now this movie, it set up like 4 or actually 3 sequels. Age of Ultron, Infinity War, and Endgames. I think this movie did some success. I place this movie in the top 10 or even the top 20 best movies of the MCU. I think like Infinity War, Endgames is like the top 2 best movies out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Anyway, so let's talk about the cast of this movie. We got Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, Tony Stark. I kind of like his character. He's just really, really grown on me over the last decade. He plays that character down well. Playing the likable asshole. We see that character in Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, this movie, Captain America Civil War. Yeah, you had Endgames, Infinity War. In like future Marvel movies, he knows he's been from the thick of thin. He just, his attitude, his like basically he came off more like a likable guy. He's not doing it. He's kind of taking the piss out his people. He's supposed to be taken seriously. Look like fools. He's just like damn good. Robert Downey Jr. Really I think him portraying the role as Iron Man really put him back on the map. He was in. I think he was. He was established before in the Marvel universe. Before he was. He was in trouble. Got a lot of trouble. He had that crappy appearance in Shaggy Dog. Anyway, let's get back to the rest of the cast. You got Chris Hemsworth as Thor. You got Chris Evans as Captain America, Steve Rogers. You got Scarlett Johansson as Natasha Romanoff as Black Widow. You got Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk. I'll talk about the character and the actor a little bit shortly. Jeremy Renner as Clint Barton, Hawkeye. Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury. Was it Clark Gregg or Craig Clark as Coulson? Let me think. You had Gwyneth Paltrow as Pepper Potts. She only appeared a little bit in this movie. Tom Hiddleston as Loki. This movie is the Loki film. Jesus, it's just like, I kind of like Loki. People like Loki to this day since his appearance in Thor 1. In this movie, he just basically came out one of the best likable characters of the MCU, and also one of the best villains of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I'm talking about mostly the core characters of this movie. So yeah, Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk. The original actor appeared in the Incredible Hulk movie from 2008 was Edward Norton. Unfortunately, he didn't renounce his role as Bruce Banner, the Hulk. Because he did like his idea for the Incredible Hulk movie. I think he got screwed, and then he quit, and then Mark Ruffalo took his place. He's basically the successor of Edward Norton. I think people like Edward Norton. Edward Norton as Bruce Banner. He was good, but I think Mark Ruffalo was a bit better. People like the Bruce Banner from the Luke Ferrigno era from the 70s and the 80s. I don't know who plays Bruce Banner. I think he was named David Banner in the TV shows and the TV movies of Incredible Hulk. Eric Banner, I don't like him. That 2003 movie was fucking cartoonish. That the Hulk, because the computer generation was fucking poor for the Hulk in 2003. 2008 was a bit better. Hulk was more vascular. Looks like the Hulk was on roids. I like this Hulk in this movie. He was like funny and played a massive part. He only appeared in in the second, third act of this movie. So yeah, this movie is the Loki movie because we saw some glimpses in Thor 1. And before that, also had Stalin. Was it Stalin Skarsgård as Selvig? He appeared in Thor 1. Returned to this movie. He also appeared in Thor 2, and after that, you never seen the character ever again. He might come back in Thor 4, Love and Thunder. Anyway, so he came back. He was under like Loki's mind control alongside Hawkeye, doing his dirty work. You got basically Loki and this group of army called the Chitauri. That's the name of the soldiers, because Loki's motive this movie is ruling. He's also a murderer. I'll get to what Loki killed. He killed a lot of characters. Basically soldiers of Shield in the beginning of the first 2 to 5 minutes of the movie. Sorry, I'm kind of rambling. I'm kind of like going a blank here. He can't kill a lot of people in the beginning of the movie. I'm trying to say, Jesus. Anyway, so it's all about the Tesseract. Shield was basically researching of the Tesseract, what it can do. Loki, before he got killed off at the end of Thor 1, he came back. I think he came from a different planet, different universe. He came back from the portal, blah, blah, blah. Portal, came back, beat down, kills like guards of shields, take the Tesseract, mind control like Hawkeye and Skarsgård. Selvig. Sorry, I know it's the character was played by Skarsgård. Really funny that in the second act of the movie, after the fight between Hawkeye and Black Widow, Hawkeye said about don't remember. He's remembering. He doesn't want to remember. I think he doesn't remember what he did, but or maybe he remember a bit what he did because he's under Loki's mind control. That was his character. That's really character in this movie. He's just basically got brainwashed by Loki's power. His scepter. Loki in this movie, yeah, he's playing the role as the ruler. He went to Germany, and they trying to do this, like, gore moment in this movie. They never do that in this movie. I think this movie is about 15. He went to Germany, grabs someone's eyeball. He's basically got like this machine, put it in the person's face, rip the eyeball out. You don't see the actual eyeball coming out of the person's socket. Can't remember what they trying to do, what they accomplished in Germany. Loki basically tell the people to kneel before him, and then this old man basically confronting Loki says there's more people like him, and then Loki says there is no people like me, and then he's trying to kill that old man. Cap was there. They did a bit of beatdown. Cap joining the fight. Iron Man joining the fight. Sorry, this is going to be a little bit confusing. They captured Loki, and then they travel back to Shield's base to lock him up. And then you got Thor came back. How he came back from planet Earth, because the end of Thor 1, he broke the gateway between Asgard and Earth. They don't really explain how he came back to Earth. Loki is different. He came from a different planet. He plans to, take over Earth. But Thor, he's basically he just came back from the sky into the plane, kidnapped Loki, sent him, they had that disgusting argument in the mountains. He needs to stop doing this. And, I think it's something about Thor says about you better listen. And then Iron Man basically really attacked Thor, set up the fight in the forest. And Loki says, with his fucking humor is funny. He said I'm listening. This is gonna be an underrated fight scene in this movie between Iron Man and Thor. I'm trying to say, so I'm almost stumbling, almost forgetting. They had that fight. Cap joining the fight. Thor's hammer and Cap's shield. They're kind of connected, and it caused like this explosion. Really wiped out all the forest. They kind of like really get that out of their system. They're on the right page. I think the reason why the Avengers worked because they're not on the right page. They're really going at each other's throats. There was one scene, they're in the sky base. You got this scene in the room with Banner, Thor, Rogers, Cap, Iron Man, Tony, Natasha, Nick Fury. Mostly it's between this like button heads between Iron Man and Captain America, because basically, Iron Man's not taken seriously. That's part of his character. He's being the likable asshole. They're kind of like button heads. I think they're taking jabs because he said about, Cap said to Iron Man, Tony says, without the shield, without the shield, he's trying to say, I'm trying to remember, without the suit, what are you? He said Playboy genius, and then he said about you're just a experiment gone wrong, something like that. And their friends have go to fighting. Says put the suit on, let's go a few rounds. Sorry, I'm trying to remember the whole thing. I don't talk about the dialogue. I watched this just about on Friday. It's the first time in years I saw this movie. So yeah, they're planting the seeds of civil war. They'll fight because Bucky killed Howard Stark, Tony Stark's dad, in the movie. We'll get to I think it's the end of phase 2. That movie, Captain America's Civil War. Anyway, so the death of Coulson, that was, the Coulson character, was it Clark Gregg as Phil Coulson? I don't understand why people into him. I don't think he's a bad character. In Thor 1, his character came off more of a dick. They'd taken all the equipment, with Jane Foster's equipment, Darcy's equipment. Selfix, was it equipment? Sorry, it's been a weeks, no, 2 weeks since I reviewed Thor 1. So his character came off as the dick but I don't mind Coulson, but I don't get the hype of this dude. He is okay, not fantastic. That's just me. Everyone has a different title of an opinion. So he got killed off. He got killed off in this movie because basically Thor was going after Loki. Loki's basically playing mind games. He played mind games, manipulates Natasha, Black Widow. Black Widow basically turned his shoulder around, looked like she's crying, but said about you're a monster. Because Natasha is basically this, a strong, independent woman. Don't need someone to fight her own battles. She can fight her own battles because in one scene, she got interrogated by these Russian mobs. They were speaking in Russian. That's part of her character. She's a former Russian spy. She kicked the Russian mob's ass because Coulson wants to go to India to locate Banner. That was in a little bit after this fight scene. That was good. That was one of the best scenes of this movie. Natasha beating the fuck out of the Russian mobs, and you can prove that she's a strong, independent woman. I think the only movie that she broke down has to be in Endgame. She broke down in tears because all her people was gone from the blap. So that's another future Marvel movie for another time. So, Scarlett Johansson's performance as Black Widow, she was good. Her performance in Iron Man 2, not so much, because she was Natalie Rushman, self-proclaimed new PA for Tony Stark. We saw some glimpses, small but not too much. She a little bit in the fight scenes, fighting, Justin Hammer's crew. But in this movie, she kind of progressed the character. I kind of like Scarlett Johansson's. Like the non-Black Widow, Marvel movie she was in. I watched was Lucy. She played her character damn well, and don't know about Ghost in the Shell. It looks good. Some people find it cartoonish with the suits. It's just what it is. It's based on, I think it's based on a manga. Anyway, so there's some chemistry between Clint and Natasha, Hawkeye, Black Widow. In the fight in New York, they bring up it's Budapest all over again. I don't know what it's referenced at. I think it's referenced the comics. They could do this scene in the Black Widow movie. If in this year, if it's this year. Unless it's pushed back, I was looking forward to see, Black Widow, because of this COVID. But anyway, so I think there's some chemistry between Scarlett Johansson and Jeremy Renner. Did they do a movie together? I think they did the Hansel and Gretel movie. Not the Hansel and Gretel movie. It looks cartoonish. It looks like superhero base. It might be a different actress, but I don't know. It was Scarlett Johansson. I don't know. So I think, Coulson's death, after, Loki escaped his cell. It wasn't a prison cell. It's basically like this container. Thor was basically fall for Loki's tricks. I think I think his title is the God of Tricks, or the Trickster God. He got into the tube. He got into the tube, and I think Loki did a pun, says about you fell for that every time because he does the holograms. Coulson got this machine, trying to not kill Loki, but blasting Loki. Loki stabbed him through a chest, and they killed him off. And it's very funny that they brought him back. They brought him back at in the Agents of Shield show. I'm not a big fan of that show. I don't get it. It had the character Maria Hill. It was planting the seeds of Agents of Shield. They brought back Coulson. It's very funny that Coulson never returned. Never so far haven't returned to the MCU ever again, because he's been in so far 4-5 movies. Actually 4 movies, because he appeared in Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2. He only appeared for one scene, and the post-credit scene. He appeared in Thor 1, in this movie. So, but 4 movies, like I said. He didn't appear in Incredible Hulk. He didn't appear in Captain America. That was before his time because he was, I think the Coulson character, I think he was in his 40s. That's the character was supposed to be in his 40s. So the movie was in World War II. Anyway, yeah, he never came back. I thought he could come back in the future movies into like Phase 2 or Phase 3 because it makes no sense. They killed him off in this movie, and they brought him back in the TV show. But I think it's got to be character rights. They used to have the character rights of Coulson, but instead they don't have him anymore. I thought he could come back, in Tony Stark's funeral at Endgame, but unfortunately that's not the case. We could see. I don't think it's the last time we see Coulson in the MCU. I don't know. Fingers crossed, he might. It's really funny that Haley Atwell as Peggy Carter showed up in future movies of Marvel, like appeared in like Captain America 2, a little bit in Avengers: Age of Ultron. I think she appeared a little bit in Ant-Man. Yeah, her character got killed off in Civil War and then appeared in Endgames, But with Coulson, it's like he never came back. He never truly came back, and it's just like it's a bit disservice to it. So anyway, the Incredible Hulk, Jesus Christ, the beginning, really in the second half of the film, Hulk was losing it. He was going after Black Widow, and then they had a fight between Thor and Hulk for a little bit in the sky base. They're trying to calm him down, and then he's really fall out of the sky base, landing in New York. He came minutes later. There was a funny part when Cap telling people what to do. There was some humor into this movie. Cap telling people what to do, and then he said to Hulk, smash. That is funny. And the funny part after they were in this, I think they were in a museum or a train station. And the funny part, Hulk just basically punched Thor in the face, punched him away. That was funny. Yeah, that was funny humor. You could tell the Hulk had some humor into it. He had some humor in Ragnarok. I'll explain to that movie later on in this series. When I get to Phase 3. So yeah, the funny part has to be Hulk and Loki. They're in Stark's tower. I think it's called Stark's Tower. They will later on become the Avengers Tower. Basically Loki said, "Do not rule. I'm your god, you foul beast." And then basically Hulk really swing Loki like a rag doll back and forth. And in the end, he had Hulk saying "puny god" and Loki with that funny look in his face. That was funny. I was laughing my ass off. He goes like this. It's just like he groans like that. I was funny. I was laughing my ass off. That's got to be one of the best. It's a shame that's not a meme. I don't think it's a meme yet, but it looks like it should be a meme. Anyway, they tease it like Tony's getting killed off. They always do that. Yeah, he got killed off in Endgames, but they always do that. Tease like Tony's gonna get killed off. Because I think like Shield trying to nuke. Because they're fighting the Chitauri. Cap grabs Iron Man grabs the missile, and shot it towards the portal. He went into the portal. I think it explodes the Chitauri, wipe out the Chitauri race, I think. And then Cap was just, Iron Man's armor went down, Jarvis was down. Jarvis is voiced by Paul Bettany. Paul Bettany is, the future Vision. He basically fall down. I think he was dead. Teasing like he's dead, and basically Hulk raw to wake up, revive Tony. That was funny. They always does that, but they're trying to find a way. Like he gets killed off, he always, find a way to do it. He always be the sacrifice goat. I'll talk about when we get to Endgames, but yeah, I don't really talk about all the plot. It'll be too long of a movie review. Trying to keep it about, like I said, 30 to 40 minutes, maybe 50 minutes tops. But I don't like talk about all of the plot, but some of the plot. So the Chitauri, it was basically working with Loki to rule this Earth. Yeah, Loki's performance was good. He got captured, went back to Asgard. Planting the seeds of Thor 2. And also to bring up Jane Foster being disappearing, you can tell they plant the seeds of Dark Worlds. That's the second Thor movie that'll be released in the summer of 2013. So anyway, 2012 for superhero movies were, I think it was a mixed bag for me. Like for example, yeah, you know, I like Batman, The Dark Knight Rises, the Bane movie, that was cool, and also Avengers, that was a good movie. Amazing Spider-Man, I'm not a big fan of Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. I just don't get the appeal of him. You know, I see people crapping on Tom Holland's Spider-Man. You know, I like Tom Holland as Spider-Man. You know, that's just me. It's just a lot of people's opinions. I don't want to get into it. I think people see like Tom Holland as a boy. That's really Spider-Man is, a teenager. That's what I really expect. I think people want to be like want to copy the same formula as the Sam Raimi films. It's not going to be like it ever again. That's just me, you know. Anyway, boy, I think I mostly covered most of it. Yeah, the post-credit scene. Yeah, the post-credit scene. You had, you know, they bring up shawarma because basically Tony says, let's celebrate. You know, I know a shawarma place. And in the post-credit scene, you had members of the Avengers. That is, I think you had Cap, Iron Man, Thor, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Banner, you know, as Bruce Banner. They're basically eating shawarma. I don't know what shawarma is. I'm guessing kebab. You know, they bring it up in. I watched an episode of American Dad. You know, why is shawarma? You know, bring up shawarma. Is it like kebab or something like that? You see, like, you know, the Avengers go into a shawarma place and eat. And also, we had the appearance of Thanos. I don't think it was Josh Brolin as Thanos. That'd be later on. I never knew he appeared in Guardians of the Galaxy. I covered Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, he appeared in it, but I never knew he was. I thought he just appeared in Endgame. It's like Infinity War. That was his first movie, but he appeared in more before that movie. So the Thanos character had a big smile that planted the seeds of future movies. It planted the seeds of Infinity War, and then later on in, I think, in other post-credit scenes of the Marvel movies going into the mostly in the second phase, you can see like basically Thanos getting the gauntlet and finding the Infinity Stones. You know, it's planting more seeds. You know, going into, you know, the rest of the future installments of the movie. You know, I'm glad they keep Thanos separate, keep him only appeared once or twice. He appeared a little bit in Guardians of the Galaxy. He only showed up in like post-credit scenes. You know, if they're using too much in one movie, I don't think, you know, Infinity War in 2018 won't be. His presence in the movie will be more impactful because Infinity War was the Thanos movie. This movie is the Loki movie. You know, Loki was the ruler trying to conquer Earth, and he failed. The fight scenes with the Chitauri, it was good. It was like it was a blockbuster shit. Like I say, it's blockbuster. It was action packed. You know, never skip a beat. You know, it wasn't really bad. It wasn't any. I don't think there was any flaws into it. You know, do I say it's the best Marvel film of the cinematic universe? I think I place it in like top. I can't say top 5. I don't think it's that great to be a top 5 Marvel film. I put it in the top 10. It was basically, yeah, a top 10 best movie of the MCU in my opinion. Like I think like Endgame's, Infinity War, maybe Guardians. Yeah, Guardians 1, Guardians 2. Yeah, the 2 Guardians of the Galaxy movies. Spider-Man Homecoming and the Spider-Man movies. I think Homecoming, that'll be in the top 10. Iron Man 1. If I do like ranking like Marvel Cinematic Universe movies to best to worst, that'll be a future movie for another time. So they had a lot of Nick Fury in this movie. He only shows up like a little bit in one scene and also in post credits of Marvel movies. He appeared a little bit in Captain America, Winter Soldier. In this movie, his portrayal was good. You know, I like Samuel L. Jackson in that role. You know, he doesn't like he's the guy who doesn't give two shits. He just basically play by his rules. Make it, bending the rules type of character. You kind of like that character. Yeah, he got blipped. It's a shame that he didn't appear. He only appeared in the final stages of Endgames, but never like played a massive part of it. He's kind of like he's the guy who made the Avengers together. He's the glue to kept the Avengers together, formed the Avengers. You know, to have him not in like got blipped and not he's not appeared mostly in Endgames. It's just like it was a massive disservice. That's just me. That's just me. Yeah. This movie. Yeah. I think I covered most of it. You know. Also, like the cover mostly the yeah. I talked about like Natasha basically. You know, Natasha. You know, got kidnapped by a Russian mob. I covered that. Yeah, you had Bruce Banner in India because in the Incredible Hulk movie he was in Brazil. Yeah, he got swindled by a girl because he thinks that can happen in real life. You know, the fake like do like they're just doing it because let's be honest, some countries are poor countries. India is a poor country. He tell Bruce that her dad is sick and dying. He went to the house and she got away. Yeah, that can happen in real life. If you go to a poor country and people just make up some sub stories about like they're dying or something, and then they you give them the money and then just run off. That can happen in real life. You know, there's one time that I went to a place, I think it was near a Primark, close to a Primark. Some Scottish woman who was homeless said about there's a 13-year-old girl. You know, I'm with a 13-year-old girl. I was not buying into it because no people will let a 13-year-old on the streets homeless. You know, you gotta be very careful. It's basically a sub story, find a way to get money, and it's basically a scam. Anyway, they talk about like the formation. He's planning it and plotting it, and it did succeed. I think that was it. Yeah, I think that's it. I think I covered most of it in this movie. Yeah, I don't talk about all the plots movies. Yeah, I think the one fault of this movie is they didn't explain how Thor escaped or like basically return from Asgard. Yeah, it's just like hey, he just came from the plane, confront Loki. That was it. Like the Thor character. They didn't really got it right in the first two movies, and also the first two Avengers movies. They got it right in Ragnarok. I like Chris Hemsworth as Thor. Not saying he's a terrible Thor. He's a good Thor. He's playing this heroic hero. I think it's just like who's writing it, who's writing the character. That could be the reason. Yeah. I think that's it. So yeah, I think I covered most of it. If I miss most of the points seen out of it, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, they had the training cards. They had Coulson had training cards of Captain America. It's just like I think he said about he wants Cap to sign his training cards, and you had basically had Nick Fury taking the cards out of Coulson's jacket, and then Maria said about he always keeps the card in his locker room. I don't understand why. I think there was some Easter eggs. I'm not going to get into it. I don't really talk about Easter eggs. I don't really care about Easter eggs. I know it's just reference of movies or pop culture. I think something like there's one scene like Tony's back in his pad. Stark Tower. I think that's called the Stark Tower. He brings up Avenger. He tells Loki. He's calling his group called the Avengers, Earth's most mightiest heroes. I think it was at the same time they did the TV show, the anime show, Earth's Mightiest Heroes. It could be a reference of that, maybe from the comics. I'm not 100% sure. And also, they bring up the previous movie. There's one scene like Stark offering Bruce to go to his tower in New York, and Bruce says no thanks. Last time being in New York, I nearly broke in Harlem. It was a fight between was it Abomination and Hulk, in Incredible Hulk movie. I covered about nearly a month ago. Yeah, did I talk about, yeah, I talked about the Budapest, did I talk about Budapest? Yeah, I did talk about Budapest, I think they are going, I think there's some chemistry, I think they could see Hawkeye in the new Black Widow movie, so, yeah, I think there's some chemistry between, I think they're going to that love interest between Hulk and Black Widow. I don't want to see that. I don't want to say. I think Hulk is done with love at this point after, the relationship between her and Betty Ross, and maybe, there's one great example like Hulk when Bruce was still the Hulk in Ragnarok. You had the voice of Natasha that calming down. I don't know. Because basically Black Widow is not really a love interest. She's more like a superhero. Same as Peggy Carter. Peggy Carter she's not really a, basically a love interest like a Pepper Potts or a Betty Ross or Jane Foster. She's more like a strong, independent woman. She don't want a man to fight her own battles. She fight her own battles. Anyway, I feel like like I said it. I'm repeating myself. I think I talked mostly about this movie. Yeah, I'm gonna end this with a star rating, so I'm gonna give it a 4.5 stars. This is gonna be the top best 3 films of Phase 1, alongside Captain America: First Avenger and Iron Man 1. It was like I said, good movie. Not the best one. I've been better movies in the next couple of years, but I think it was a fun, enjoyable movie. Planting the seeds of future movies. The attention was cool. Between the tension between, Fury, Cap, Iron Man, Natasha, Banner, Thor. It was really an action-packed film with star-packed with actors, Some are not really big, but soon to be big. And you got established stars like Samuel L. Jackson and Robbie Downey Jr. So, yeah, that's my review of Avengers 2012. They should have called it Avengers Assemble. Very funny that this is the only Avengers movie without an extra title. Like in Avengers 2, the second movie is called Age of Ultron, the third movie is called Infinity War, and the fourth movie is called Endgames. They should have called it Avengers Assemble, because it was the Avengers kind of assembled. Oh yeah, and also the cameo of Stan Lee. It's basically after the world is saved, people have like a mixed opinion of the Avengers. People like him. There's one guy having the Tony Stark look with the goatee. Some people, like someone graffitied the face of Tony Stark, and also you had Stan Lee playing chess with someone who says, "Superheroes, give me a break." That could happen in real life if superheroes exist in real life. Like people want to say, "Oh, superheroes, they're smashing them out of town, but they save our bacon from evil." You imagine if they came around stopping the COVIDs, who's mastered the COVID thing. They'll be heroes. You're like, "Oh, I don't want superheroes to trash my town," but they're saving the planet. Anyway, so yeah, that's the final movie of Phase 1 of the MCU. Like I said, 4.5 stars, good. It was a blockbuster, action-packed movie from top to bottom. I'm gonna do an extra video to sign out Phase 1 of the MCU movie review series. I'm gonna do a video ranking the movies from Phase 1 to best to worst. That'll be another future video for another time. Because the 6 movies of Phase 1 are Iron Man 1, Hulk, Incredible Hulk, Thor 1, Captain America 1, Avengers 1, and also Iron Man 2, almost forgot. So, yeah, I'm going to rank it best to worst. I will do it in the second and third phases. Phase 4, we haven't got Phase 4 yet. We got Black Widow, and also, I'm guessing it's a movie between Winter Soldier and Falcon. Can't wait for that movie. So, it's setting me up for 2021. So, yeah, I hope you enjoy my review of Avengers 2012. I'm going to call it Avengers Assembled. So, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Smash the like button. And subscribe to the Central Man Network on YouTube for more Marvel videos, wrestling videos, game streams, and more. Next time we'll be on the ranking videos, and then moving on to the next movie review from Phase 2 of the MCU. That'll be Iron Man 3. Stay tuned next week. So yeah, this is Essential Man officially signing out. Check you later.